to meet your obligation here of presenting the information in accordance with GAAP, was Allen Weyselberg responsible for that?
Object to the form.
I would say yes.
That was Donald Trump throwing his CFO, Allen Weyselberg, under the bus in never-before-seen video deposition testimony that has now been released as New York Attorney General Leticia James' civil fraud case against Donald Trump, Weyselberg, Trump's adult kids, Eric and Don Jr., and the various Trump entities is now in trial. We are now on day 2 of trial, and the video depositions, which were previously sealed, are now being released. There you saw Donald Trump throw Allen Weyselberg under the bus. Here's Allen Weyselberg's video deposition, where Allen Weyselberg, the CFO of the Trump Organization, says he's not a CPA and doesn't understand what generally accepted accounting principles are. Play the clip.
If I said the phrase GAAP, GAAP, are you familiar with that acronym?
I've heard of that, yes.
Okay. Tell me everything you know about GAAP. What is GAAP?
Generally accepted accounting principles. I don't know what's in GAAP. I never took the CPA exam.
Okay.
And never studied for it. So I don't know all the various components of what GAAP is.
Are there any components you know about what GAAP is?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Here is Don Jr., saying that he doesn't know anything about GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, other than that they are generally accepted. Play the clip.
Do you have any familiarity with an acronym GAAP, G-A-A-P?
Generally accepted accounting principles, yes.
Okay. How did you become familiar with that acronym?
Probably in Accounting 101 at Wharton.
Okay. What do they teach you about generally accepted accounting principles in Wharton?
Well, I'm not an accountant, but that they are generally accepted.
Anything else?
That's pretty much what I remember from Accounting 101. So.
Have you told me everything you know about GAAP?
Basically. I'm sure I could come up with some creative stuff to kill time, but I'd be doing neither of us a favor in terms of educating ourselves.
And I want to give props to the lawyer who was asking Don Jr. the questions. And Don Jr. thought he was being so smart with the responses there, but he just looked like an idiot. Here is Eric Trump at his deposition saying that he doesn't even know how the statement of financial conditions were prepared. Play the clip.
I don't remember a video conference in 2021 talking about the statement of financial condition. Did I mean, maybe you could show me something, but again, I don't think I ever signed a statement of financial condition. I don't, I've done a lot to try and jog my memory, and I simply can't because I don't think I've ever had any involvement in the statement of financial condition, to the best of my knowledge.
Well, here's the thing, Eric. If we go through the deposition testimony of your father, here is what the deposition testimony says. Question: Mr. Trump, are you currently the person with ultimate decision-making authority for the Trump Organization? Answer: no. Question: who would that be? Answer: my son, Eric, is much more involved with it than I am. I've been doing other things, and I guess you could say on something major, final decisions, whatever. But I've been much less involved in it than over the last 5 or 6 years than ever before. Looks like your dad threw you under the bus as well, Eric, in addition to Allen Weyselberg. Want to show you the deposition of Michael Cohen, Alina Habba, Trump's lawyer, who didn't check the box for a jury trial, is questioning Michael Cohen here. And here, Michael Cohen describes in detail the fraud he was asked to commit. He and Allen Weyselberg were asked to come in to play the clip.
Seven Springs. How would the Trump Organization value that asset for the SOFC?
For what year?
2000. I mean, it's a general question. It's frankly not per year. It's okay. They have a process. What was the process?
The goal was to use each of the assets and increase its value in order to get to the end result number. It was basically backing in numbers to each of the asset classes in order to attain the number that Mr. Trump wanted.
Okay. So
here's another clip of Michael Cohen describing the fraud he was asked to commit. Play the clip.
He wanted to be higher on the Forbes list. And he then said, I'm actually not worth $6 billion. I'm worth 7. In fact, I think it's actually now worth 8 with everything that's going on. Allen and I were tasked with taking the assets, increasing each of those asset classes in order to accommodate that $8 billion number.
Folks, that is brutal deposition testimony right there. And the video, which has not been released until now, I think just paints a powerful picture. And folks, those are just the facts. So when the facts are not on your side, when the law is not on your side, and when you refuse to accept responsibility and accountability and your last name is Trump, what do? You attack the process. Us. And here's how Donald Trump conducted himself. And I think when you see the deposition video, how horrific, how incompetent they look, I think it sheds new light on some of these clips of Donald Trump. Like here, Donald Trump attacks Judge Engoron and says, the judge needs to be disbarred, lose his law license, and he says, arrested, play the clip.
This is a continuation of the single greatest witch hunt of all time. We have a rogue judge who rules that properties are worth a tiny fraction, 1/100th, a tiny fraction of what they actually are. We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show, who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me. She used this to run for governor. She failed in her attempt to run for governor. She had virtually no polling. She came back and she said, well, now I'll go back to get Trump again. And this is what we have. It's a scam. It's a sham.